Hey everybody, welcome back to Grunt Reviews. We are back in the studio, and today I've got kind of a fun one. We're going to get into some long stroke AR stuff. Guys, this will be our unboxing and tabletop of the Primary Weapon Systems MK116 Mod 2 or Mod 2M. As always, go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tap that notification bell so you stay up to date. Drop a comment with any questions you may have. We're always here to answer those for you to the best of our ability. And as always, if you like what we're doing for you here at the channel, I've got my Buy Me a Coffee link in the description. And we do appreciate all of you that do help us out here. And let's get into it. We are going to jump right into this bad boy here. All right, so obviously basic cardboard box, couple extra goodies in here. Not sure if these came from the dealer or if it came specific with the rifle. They did send the PWS hat, always kind of cool. We do have a single Lancer mag, and it is in the opaque black. We've got a neat little PWS keychain there. Kind of cool. Of course, we have our firearm lock. We have a PWS Evolve patch. We've got, this will actually be our gas adjustment tool. You use the pin end for gas adjustment, and this is for removing the handguard. For all you sticker freaks out there, you do get a sticker with it. We get a instruction manual, or an instruction manual, I should say. And let me get this thing out of its grease bag here. We do get the rifle itself. I think, oh, that's just the, oh, look at that keychain's a bottle opener. Well, that's kind of neat. Let me get this box out of the way here, and we will get up close with this. Starting at the front and working our way to the back, at the muzzle end here, this barrel is topped off with a, I'm gonna call it a comp flash hider combo. Looks like a comp with a bird cage on the end of it. Something I will mention, does have a patent number on the bottom of it, so this does appear to be a patented item. Not sure if that affects you, and of course we will test that out at the range. As we work our way back, we get to the handguard, and this has a couple of unique, little bit different features here. So on the top side of this, we have almost a full run of pick rail, minus one small section, and this is where you adjust the gas setting for this long stroke gas system. So there is 3 settings, 1, 2, and 3. They list it as essentially 1 is standard, 2 will be a slight reduction, that will be for suppressors with low back pressure, and then number 3 is going to be for suppressors with higher back pressure. So basically, the higher the number, the less gas you have there. On the sides and on the bottom, you'll actually notice the screw holes in the pick. So this is what they call their pick lock system. It's actually kind of cool, little bit of a best of both worlds. So these screw holes are pre-threaded for your standard M-lock, the screws that actually mount into the T-nuts. So if you wanted to, per se, just throw a backup iron sight on the front and on the rear, and maybe just a single, we'll say a flashlight on the side, you're able to add those. You don't have to buy another rail section, add it to the M-lock or anything like that. So it is built in. Same deal though, if you do want to use an M-lock slot a little bit further forward, you're able actually to use the slots as well as these pick locks here. So it kind of gives you the ability to do Picatinny or do M-lock accessories without having to buy the Picatinny adapters or adding additional parts to it. Kind of cheesy, kind of cool at the same time. I could go either way on it. It is a cool feature. Doesn't look quite as sleek as a solid M-LOK handguard. But if you're just doing something minimal, we'll say something like an angled foregrip or something like that, or you do still have a bunch of Picatinny accessories, does make life just a little bit easier for you there. As we work our way a little bit further back, and we'll talk about the piston system as we get to the rear, but you get the matched set of upper and lower receivers, and these actually have a couple of cool features. So number one, you'll see we don't have a forward assist there. We do have a dust port cover, and this is just a basic mil-spec dust port cover. Where it starts to change is as we get into the lower. So everything on this is ambi. So magazine release, obviously located in the standard position. And then we do have our left side, driver's side, left hand, whatever you'd like to call it, mag release over here on the left. Bolt release, we will rack this sucker back here. Bolt release, we do have a button on the right hand side, so you can engage that with the trigger finger there. So it does give you an ambi bolt release and an ambi magazine release. Does come, I guess I'll start at the top here, does come with the Radian Raptor charging handle from the factory, and it also comes with the Radian Talon safety selectors. These in the current configuration are 90. I have not pulled this apart, but you should be able to flip the barrel around and also make this a 45 as well. And you can move the long and short levers from side to side very easily. There's just a pin and these things slide out. And you can also buy additional levers as well for that too. That is something that a lot of folks do in the aftermarket, so it is nice that they do give it to you from the factory out of the box. Grip is going to be a BCM grip, and this is one of their reduced angle grips. I'm not sure of the exact part number from BCM there. As we work our way a little bit further back, the buffer tube and buffer tube nut are just a little bit different than your standard setup. So we of course do get a QD mount on the rear, but you'll notice you have notching here on this buffer tube ring. This is actually, and it's kind of hard to see, but this is actually part of a ratchet system. So if you needed to remove this, instead of having to restake the nut and go through the whole procedure of fighting with staking it, you're actually able to just use a standard wrench, tighten it down, and that ratchet system will keep it locked into place. Kind of a cool mod. Will depend on how often you're pulling your buffer tube off for some reason. The fact that they already give you the QD mount there, I don't see a ton of reason, but it is nice that they do include it once again from the factory. Stock, we do have a BCM stock. It does have QD mounts there on both sides, obviously easily adjustable. Charging handle, of course, is that Radian Raptor. And now for the very, very fun part of this, we're going to talk about the long stroke gas system. To do that, I'm going to pop this sucker apart here. We're gonna separate these. All right, so this will look like a standard AR carrier. And something else I will point out too, they do give you a couple slots for a forward assist, but no forward assist. And get this sucker out of here. So this piston system does make it just a little bit more of a pain to disassemble here. And this is my first time doing this as well. right, there we go. That should get a little bit easier with some practice. So what you'll see here is essentially what appears to be a standard AR carrier. However, instead of the standard gas key that you're used to seeing, we actually have half of the piston system where it actually bolts in that gas key location there. And then we have the actual end of the piston system. This comes off, there's a little notch there, and you line it up to go in, turn it, and line it back up to take it off. This allows you to slide the charging handle off. So as you can see, with this long stroke gas system, very similar to an AK in operation, we do not have the gas entering the chamber as we do with a direct impingement system. PWS claims, or primary claims, obviously reduced recoil, less maintenance. Obviously the firearm should run cleaner, and we will test that out at the range. But I do like the fact that you are not getting that gas directly into the bolt area. So if you are using a can on this, if you're using a short barrel version, anything that increases the amount of gas in the chamber and the amount of carbon entering the chamber, that's where this long stroke system has some advantages over direct impingement. Now, what's very cool about the PWS setup versus something like, we'll say, the SIG MCX, this is a standard AR charging handle. So if this were to break or something of that nature, you can replace this with any standard charging handle versus something like the SIG MCX, where it has to come from SIG or a very select few aftermarket manufacturers for it. Bolt and bolt carrier appear to be standard as well too, obviously minus the gas key staking or the piston staking at the top there. Nothing standard firing pin, nothing fancy there. So the very cool thing about this is if you need replacement parts, minus the gas system, should be relatively easy to get a hold of locally. As we look back towards the upper, obviously we have our significantly larger tube here that houses the gas piston system itself. With this, the cleaning procedure, not totally different. Obviously you'll clean your barrel, you'll clean your chamber, but they actually recommend a 40 caliber cleaning brush to run up and down that gas tube to clean it out. As we discussed earlier, of course, this system is adjustable, which is always nice, so it is set up for use with a suppressor there. Reassembly of this, not too difficult. We'll see if I can do this with some relative ease here. So we line up our piston, we slide her on, get her lined up in the hole. Get our charging handle lined up and slide her on in. So really, outside of that one additional step of removing the actual piston from the rod, very easy. This is your standard AR maintenance, if you will. We'll point out, get this into place here. So the trigger does appear to be, I'm going to say, either nickel boron or NP3 coated. Does have a coat or a coating on it for some additional friction reduction. And this is a standard mil-spec design, if you will. It's not a drop-in trigger. As always, we are going to, there we go, grab a weight on this bad boy. Let me pull out my scale here. We'll get this thing zeroed. All right, zeroed out. And we are coming in at, hopefully you can see that, 6 pounds, 11.55 ounces. As it sits without the magazine, with the empty mag, I guess with the bag there, puts us right at basically 7 pounds. Hopefully you can see that there. So not super light, but also not incredibly heavy either. And last, and of course definitely not least, let's talk about the factory trigger here. So this is a single stage trigger setup, and it's a little bit notchy out of the box here. I played with this just a bit off camera. So we've got just that little bit of take up there, and it's kind of mushy. Hopefully you can see that. Some of that may be, there is a lot of grease in this thing, and obviously this is fresh out of the box. A little bit of gritty, we get on the wall, we get a little bit of stacking there, and then a break, and it feels, at least right now, almost like a rolling break, almost like a stock Glock trigger. Once again, that could possibly be due to grease or something like that. There we go. So lots of squish, lots of stacking. You do get right up on that nice firm wall there at the very, very end. One more time. Right there at the very, very end. And break. Reset. And relatively short, nothing to write home about, but not excessively long. And that's stacking. Break. So that could wear in with a little bit of shooting, possibly with a little bit of cleaning afterwards. That's something we will follow up on. And as usual, I've got my handy dandy Lyman digital trigger gauge here, and we are going to grab a weight on this bad boy. All right, first pull, 5 pounds, 4.0 ounces. Second pull here. Second pull, 5 pounds, 11.9 ounces. Try one more. Make sure we get a nice traditional straight pull here. 6 pounds, 2.4 ounces. Kind of keeps creeping up. Let's try it one more time here. And 5 pounds, 7.5 ounces. So I'm going to say that one that was over 6 was a little bit of an outlier. So somewhere between, we'll say 5 and 6 pounds, I'll say a 5.5 average, give or take, because numbers are hard. So all in all, not a terrible trigger. These are running, I believe, original MSRP, and obviously we've seen some price increases. I believe these were about $1,800. I believe I'm seeing them now going for $2,000 plus. Some of that's going to be market driven as well. So definitely a high-end AR. I do like the look of the receivers, the thought that went into them. Everything does line up. I don't know if they're hand matched to each other, but it doesn't look like everything's crooked or off center or anything like that. I do like the fact that they give you that ambi bolt release. Do like the ambi safety, though wish they would have set it to 45 out of the box instead of 90. Do like the ambi mag release. And what is kind of cool, as I said, is almost everything on this is somewhat standard mil spec. So you would be able to change out, let's say, the mag release if you wanted to, the safety, the trigger. I believe you should be able to change out the bolt catch as well too. And then kind of gives you some options if you want to improve there. Would have been nice if they had done something a little bit more high end, just being in that 2 grand price range, give or take. Same deal with the port door. It is nice that they have it, but it is a basic, cheap, mil-spec port door. Kind of feels a little bit like an afterthought, like, oh crap, hey, grab something out of the spare parts bin. Would have been nice to see something, maybe, I don't know, maybe code a little bit better, maybe something like a V7. Just small little tweaks that could be done for something in this price range. The handguard with the pick lock system, kind of cool. I'm a little bit torn. I'm a little bit torn on it. I do like the fact that they give you a little bit of pick for the guys that do still have some Picatinny accessories, just so you don't have to add rails to it. Trade-off to that is in today's day and age, just about everything has gone to an M-lock mount, at least on the civilian side, with few exceptions. Obviously, if you're running IR, thermal, a designator, anything like that, generally you're on the top rail there. And if you did need to add a single piece, you could. Obviously, they give you just a hair up front. Not sure how close you would want that to the muzzle brake on this thing. But to give you an overview, definitely seems solid, feels solid, doesn't feel janky or cheap. You can definitely tell there was some quality and craftsmanship that went into this unit. So as always, we are going to take this thing out to the range. We're going to put it through its paces. We are going to put a can on it as well to see how it does fire suppressed, how adjustable the gas system is. Guys, if you have any questions, drop them down below. Always happy to answer viewer questions. And guys, I do appreciate your time watching this. Stay safe, train hard.